Hello and welcome to this panel discussion. This is a breakaway session from the Nutrify C-Suite Summit, which is being held today. And I know that in the main hall we've been discussing about the global nutraceutical market, about the Indian nutraceutical market. And at this panel discussion, we've called this panel discussion today to discuss about responsible nutrition. What does it mean, etc., etc. So at this panel, we have four people from different perspectives to give their views on how this market is going to progress. So let me start with Abhiroop Chatterjea from Cipla Health, Rahul Adakmol from Bharat Serums and Vaccines. Welcome to the panel. Mr. Bharat Jhaver from Tablets India, and Mr. Ravi Vaidhyanathan from Signutra. So let's go round the table, each of you all telling me what your companies are doing in the nutraceutical space and giving us a sense of what really was the success story of your brands in the nutraceutical market. So Mr. Vaidhyanathan, starting with you, if you could talk about that.
Okay, we have been a new kid on the block. We started about 5 years back. One of the strong focus was to bring a highly differentiated formulation in the market. And as you rightly said, how can we do a responsible kind of nutrition building? So we are very, very hard science focused organization. So you will see that all our formulations, right, starting from child nutrition to the adult or disease based nutrition, have quite differentiated formulation and science in itself. And probably that is one of the reasons what has driven the success story in a short time. And the second factor could be that in an evolving market like India, you still need to count on the HCPs, that is the doctors. Because at the end of the day, nutrition is still referred to in our country, mainly be it a child nutrition or be it maternal nutrition or be it diabetic nutrition. The doctor, even if it doesn't prescribe, he has to endorse it. So to that extent, you'll have to win the hearts and minds of the doctors first before taking it to the consumers. And so we are in that journey for the last 4 years. And hopefully at some point of time, we'll also win the hearts of the consumers.
Great, great. Good to know about that. And you said you're new to, the company that you're in is new to the nutraceutical space, as opposed to Tablets India, which has been one of the pioneers in the nutraceutical space and the probiotic space. So what has been your journey? And I know that because you started so early, you all had to create the pathway to acceptance in the HCP market. So how did you all go about really creating that kind of a sense for a product like a probiotic or like a nutrition product in the doctor's mind?
Yeah, it was tough. When we started, when we ventured into probiotics way back in 1999-2000, at that point of time, probiotics was not what it is today. So we did need to go to doctors and sort of explain to them the entire science behind it, not for 1 month or 2 months, it went on actually for 24 months. It took us almost about 190 doctor group meetings across the country. I don't think so we left any major city out of it, with each seminar having anywhere between 60 to 70 doctors and going up to almost 400-500 doctors also. This is apart from going to hospitals and conducting continuous medical education there. So when the science was started to gain acceptance, then the doctors wanted to see whether it works. You know, ultimately the taste of the pudding is in eating it and also seeing whether it really gives any benefit, and that comes efficacy. So the fortunately for us, you know, our company had collaborations with the world leading players in probiotics. So we used those collaborations and created or developed a highly efficacious approved probiotic product, which then when it started going to the market, doctors used it and they found it as extremely efficacious. So that led to the efficacy being established also. Further, we continued our thrust on probiotics by also conducting clinical trials, Indian clinical trials. We already had plenty of clinical trials overseas, but then we wanted to conduct them in India, so we conducted almost about 30 odd clinical trials over this long duration of time, and those further gave confidence to doctors to use probiotics, for their patients. So today, as I was sharing in the talk, many doctors start treating gut-related issues with probiotics first, and and don't directly go into antibiotics immediately. So if there is an issue which can't be resolved with probiotics and all that, then they would go for any sort of infection into antibiotics. So that's all. That's all I also hope for, that as time progresses, we must use or enhance the usage of probiotics for any gut-related issue to begin with. And now science is moving on beyond gut. It is going into various other ailments. There is probiotics for women healthcare, there's probiotics for UTI, there are probiotics for several other areas as well. So yeah, the journey has been long. Some of us in this table also has been a part of that journey. Ravi was with us for some time, and so yeah, education was the key.
And I think it's good that you're first turning to probiotics and then antibiotics, because with the AMR crisis, the antimicrobial resistance crisis that is going on because of misuse, rampant misuse and overuse rather of antibiotics, that is good news for that. I hope that will bring down AMR in time to come. Lessening the use of antibiotics and putting it later on. But it's still preventive rather than therapeutic, the use of probiotics?
Yeah. Yes and no. For ailments like diarrhea, it has now become even first line of therapy. Along with ORS and zinc, there are doctors, there is bulk of the pediatric doctors who would write a probiotic with ORS and zinc for treatment of diarrhea. In case it's not able to get resolved due to any infection which is there, then they resort to antibiotics. So there is a shift, I would say, in the treatment pattern or a treatment habit which was there pre-2000 to in this last 20 years. Okay. And we hope that shift moves a lot more to various other ailments also, where there is immense literature and immense studies to support the use of probiotics in those areas too.
Okay, so which would be these areas, if I can do a follow-up question on that?
Plenty, ma'am. There are plenty of areas that start in gut. Of course, anything related to gut, probiotic is there to stay. And now we are talking about probiotics used in UTI, which is also very well established in India for the last 10 to 15 years. The key is to identify the right strains for the right ailment, and it's strain specificity to disease specificity. If there is a correlation that is done, then you would get great results with these probiotic products.
Okay.
So essentially, our gut is made up of trillions and trillions of bacteria. So we got to take care of them.
Yes.
They take care of us.
Yes, I am a BSc in microbiologist, so I know all about microbiology and this. So I was very happy when you said that there has to be now a new curriculum on probiotics. So you'll have a whole different cadre of specialists called probiologists. Yes. So very happy to hear about that. Rahul, moving to you, and a lot of pharma companies are moving into nutraceuticals. So what is the convergence between the two? And though it seems like a perfect jodi, there's also a pharmaceutical company has a lot of pain points along the way. So is it better to be a FMCG company getting into nutraceuticals, or is it better is the journey faster for a pharmaceutical company to get into nutraceuticals? What is your take on that? Because you've been part of very big pharma companies, now also with Bharat Serums and Vaccines.
Yeah, so I think nutraceuticals if you look at the usage of nutraceuticals, many times we perceive this as mainly a supportive therapy. But COVID has taught us, like many times the doctor recommended usage of vitamin C and also zinc, because there is an underlying kind of correlation with immunity when vitamin C and zinc is taken, right? So beyond these, there are several areas, like even when the patients are on cancer patients are on chemotherapy, the patient condition is so debilitated that the underlying nutrient sufficiency has to go up. That condition is cachexia, we know that. So in many aspects, actually nutraceuticals and nutrition are core part of the therapy. So if you are a company looking at it like from a disease management window point of view, then along with medicines which you are offering, I think nutraceuticals also form a part of that. Because of that, your offering and the patient outcomes are optimal. Now with that logic, a lot of companies, actually pharmaceutical companies, they just take the same logic and try to come in the space, and that's where you will see that a lot of pain points starts emerging. I think first and fundamental thing, and when I was dealing with in my previous company some of these type of opportunities and areas, we realized that when you want to launch certain portfolio or product, it starts with what type of products, right? And these type of products are very different than the classical pharmaceutical products. Who knows that? You don't have in-house experts around that. So you have to go out, find out nutraceutical, nutrition experts. And when we started doing that, you will realize that this is a completely different ecosystem. Nutraceutical companies really talk about ingredients and their claims. And there are several new ingredients they talk about. And from a pharmaceutical company standpoint, you would always want to have that one product which will kind of meet your requirement. So again, even their technical know-how, the manufacturing processes, it's more like a food processing industry in many cases. And hence, even to sometimes you have to onboard some of these partners, and if you have to send your quality team to go and audit these companies, they would say they don't meet our standards. Because you are looking at this whole thing from a pharmaceutical lens point of view. Food has different standards. Pharmaceutical companies or pharmaceuticals have different standards. So it takes a lot of time for pharmaceutical companies to adopt to this new ecosystem. And eventually company had to get these capabilities in-house to kind of understand that better. And a lot of companies will face this challenge. I've seen this. At the same time, I think what you talked about responsible nutrition, and that's where I think pharma companies has a bigger role, and those capabilities can be brought in. I look at it into 4 different areas. When we want to launch any nutrition, basic problem is what nutrition you want to launch, and it starts with that whole understanding unmet need. Right? You can't just launch any concoction in the market because there are 3-4 ingredients and they will cure all the you can't, there is no wonder drug which will cure everything, right? But if you look at the claims and mix 25 ingredients, you will actually end up thinking about a wonder drug, but there is no such thing. So really then you have to look at what is the unmet need we want to kind of solve, and it's difficult task. You have to understand patient journey, you need to talk to doctors, you need to understand patient's pain points, and really think about what that one kind of unmet need. Once you know that unmet need, that's where the convergence starts, because there is a huge list of ingredients and their claims. What recipe you need to create to address that unmet need? Again, it's big ask, and this capability, again in my point of view, doesn't reside within pharmaceutical industry. You have to be dependent on those nutrition experts, and that's really again a convergence point in my mind. And you have to, again, that's again a very long process for a pharma company to get there. Maybe for a nutrition company it's quite easy, but for pharma company to walk that distance, it takes time, and I can tell from the experience. Once you do that, again the next question comes, what type of format? Pharmaceutical companies look at tablets, capsules at the max, kind of some of the injectable products. But here are the forms which are like ready to consume, some of the sachets, nowadays bars, biscuits, a lot of these other, almost as I said, more like food processing formats. So again, learning about that, adopting that, creating your value proposition is a challenge. And this is where again Nutra capabilities are helpful. Where pharma capability is critical in this case is the evidence generation. We talked about evidence generation. Lot of these claims are not fully substantiated, right? And you can't have 25 ingredients with 25 claims. Finally, you will have 3 to 4 key claims for your own product. But how would you, kind of reach to those 3 to 4 claims? Finally, you have to have some evidence generated around those claims. And that's where pharma expertise can come together. So all these 4 steps, right, from patient journey till what is the design of the product, what format of the product, or even the evidence, when you package it together, that's where you create a solution. And in each of these cases, you will see pharmaceutical expertise or nutrition expertise in isolation, they cannot do it. They need to converge together, and that's where kind of good products can be created, which can be kind of get to next level. And that's where I see that the convergence is necessary for this to take off to the next level.
Right. Abhiroop, moving to you. Cipla Health is within the larger Cipla universe. So it's kind of, when you're talking about convergence, you're a nutraceutical company within a larger pharmaceutical company. How has the journey been for you all? What have been the secrets of your brand success? Because, obviously the Cipla has a marketing muscle behind it, but the whole the pharmaceutical lens can't look at everything the same way for the nutraceutical products.
Absolutely, Vivek. Thanks for having me. So, as you said, I represent Cipla Health, which is a 7-year young independent subsidiary of Cipla Limited, which is an 85-year-old leader in its right. So, in terms of responsible consumer communication for nutraceuticals, as Rahul and the other panelists have mentioned. So, there comes a point, an inflection point where as manufacturers of nutraceuticals, you would have the evidence, you would have the multiple formats, but how do we generate interest in the consumers beyond an RX? That is where our role comes into play. So while Cipla stands for good science, good medicine, evidence-based medicine, we are in the business of improving lives every day. And what we are targeting currently is talking to consumers. So what we have done over the course of last 1.5 years, we've spent around more than 10,000 man-hours of consumer understanding, meeting consumers every month. And what we've seen that in terms of nutraceuticals as a space is fairly varied, right from consumers do identify nutraceuticals between a VMS versus MFDs and the kind. So whether it is single vitamins, multivitamins, supplements, FSSI, Ayush, the entire part of it. So what people want are visible markers of when do I need a certain product, what are the manifestations of me being not well. And the mindset that we are currently speaking to is people who have wellness at the back of mind but not actively doing something about it, right? So, and there could be many markers, lack of energy, you wake up in the morning, you have a back pain, you feel tired throughout the day, pain in the joints. So when do you need a calcium, when do you need a multivitamin, when do you need a protein supplement is what we are trying to identify. And what we realize is there's an immense potential of using, I think, with Cipla as a credible brand name that we have, and the way of marketing that we do to consumers, right? What Rahul was saying, where I think most pharma players get stuck is identification of the consumer insight, the NPD innovation funnel. And we use, in fact, because we are operating in a very different way from pharma, we operate in a way which is completely FMCG, so to speak. So the way of consumer insighting, product innovation, the state gate process, all of it, we put those things into action, validate with consumers, and when we work with trusted partners like many of you who are there in the industry, we get these products back to consumers to complete product testing in terms of what is the visible marker that a consumer has seen. So there is a clinical evidence which most trusted partners have, and there is a consumer evidence as well. And then we marry it together, it brings out a beautiful piece of consumer communication. And the role that we play is obviously to educate, make them aware, and then initiate a trial. So in terms of accessibility, the distribution that we have, and it is not a standard pack of a tablet or a powder, and as you said, there are multiple formats, be it gummies, be it bars, and in terms of the pricing packs also. So unlike pharma, in terms of getting into LUPs, that's the strategy we adopt for them to try out the product. Form factor, Indian palate is the most sensitive in the world. Taste is of critical importance. So how does it taste to the consumer? And if it tastes right, consumer will upgrade. So in terms of space that we are having, there is a preventive space and there is a maintenance. We are not in the enhancement space right now, so that's where we are playing. And what we believe at Cipla Health is through a journey of education, awareness, creation and trials, we are seeing those barriers getting broken, and there is hard-coded measurability being built across brands in terms of sales numbers, in terms of mind measures that we track quarter and quarter for our Nutra brands. So that's how we are building that responsible part of nutraceuticals.
Thank you, Abhiroop. Moving back to you, Ravi, if you could tell us what were the top success reasons for success of your brands and the learnings from the global nutraceutical market as well, because India is just starting out on this nutrition journey. We are not even 1% of the full global nutraceutical market. So obviously there are many learnings from other countries, other nutraceutical companies that India can take. So what learnings are you picking up from the global nutraceutical market?
No, but I think what is paramount importance is, as he rightly said, there are two things. One is about the science of the product that needs to be there, but that's, you can say it's a basic hygiene. Then in nutraceutical, the most important part is understanding the consumer. Because see, the difference between a pharma and a nutraceutical is when you have a disease, you are ready to take any kind of a medicine, be it bitter, be it sweet, or be it whatever form, right? But when it is nutraceutical, then you start looking for all the other benefits like sensory benefits and so many
the
other
urgency
things.
of the situation is not there basically.
Not there. So
Yeah.
it is that much important to cover all the other aspects. Like I'll give you an example. When we started this in India, so we did a lot of research like I was talking about, and one of the fantastic insight was Indian women have this habit of adding only 2 scoops, be it medicine, be it coffee, be it sugar, whatever it is, right? And most of the nutraceutical brand powder formats, if you see, the dosage are 4 to 5 to 7 scoops. So we said we ensure that all our products dosage in such a way that it's just 2 scoops. And that simple differentiation, which looks as very simple, had made it so comfortable for the HCP who is using the product and consumer in terms of compliance with the product. So whichever
So
country you
local
are.
knowledge basically. I think I heard someone also saying that when you made one of the Horlicks brands, I think, when you
Women's
made it
Horlicks, I think
women's
something was
Horlicks, yeah, when they said it was badam flavor, then
Yeah.
everybody started using it. Otherwise, when it was strawberry and banana flavored, etc., etc., not strawberry flavor is, it's not really a flavor that's Indian, that's seen as Indian. So probably when you made it badam flavor, then it kind of, so local knowledge, consumer knowledge, which is impacting the brand marketing strategy basically.
Absolutely. So you need to understand the consumer understanding quite properly. That is again. And similarly, there's a lot of other plays which is involved. Distribution per se, you will go an extra mile to find a medicine, but unless and otherwise nutraceutical is available nearby you, so that makes it more difficult for the business. But the best thing about the Nutra business is that, as he was saying, you are trying to build health. You are not trying to manage health. You are not trying to treat health. So to that extent, the opportunity is so huge. But you will have to plan the journey very properly from an HCP point of view, at what time you will move to a consumer and what kind of communication probably you will tell the consumer. And I think with our knowledge of herbal and Ayurvedic nutrition as well as compared to the other countries, we stand in a very, very advantageous position today to probably be a leader in the nutraceutical segment. And I think also looking at our numbers, nobody has to say, like US probably is 1/3 of our population, but 25 times more than what we sell. So, and I think unlike pharma, nutrition is something which India has given to the world. It's an age-old concept which has been in our habits, right, in our meals and cooking and everything, even
Turmeric,
decades back. Yeah,
yes,
even decades
yes.
back. It's only, as he rightly said, you will have to add science to that. The government and industry needs to invest a lot of money to sort of evidence that, do a lot of clinical trials, and tell in a consumer way that the consumer can understand. Right? If you are going to say your curcumin contains so much of phytamins and phosphates and this and that, the consumer is not. But when you are going to take back to him and show him what our dadis and dadas were using, it's the same product but it has this benefit, that becomes even much more easier to sell the product. He was very right. You can't sell nutraceutical in a pharma way. You have to have that Nutra experience and you have to go through that journey, and that's how you can reach the consumer.
Okay, and moving to you, Bharat, we were talking about when do you make that switch from RX to OTC, and is it really worth making that switch and all that, So we were talking. So for a nutraceutical product needs science, it needs evidence, but you also need to speak the consumer's language. Similarly, what kind of learnings and learning insights are you getting from your brand, or when you look at collaborators across the world that you're dealing with?
So You mean in the field of probiotics
In the
or
field
other
of
products?
probiotics plus nutraceutical per se.
So in the field of probiotics, I mean, there is no two thoughts of at some point of time, consumers must have a direct to consume probiotic brand which they can take on a daily basis. We firmly believe in prevention is better than cure, which is a very age-old mantra, but we also believe that it all begins in the gut. So if the gut is okay, then everything is okay. So we do believe that it is important for people to consume probiotics not just when they are falling sick or when a doctor prescribes, but it is important to take them every day.
So it's not health care, not sick care, but wellness care basically.
It is, you take care of the gut will take care of you. So to take care of the gut, you take probiotics. I take probiotics every day. My family takes care, and plenty of people whom I know, they just take care of it. They do have probiotics every day, and the benefits of that are immense. I mean, it's just not that if you have like a tummy upset or if you have some sort of bloating or gas and people just think that they'll pop in 2 pills. The benefits of this just go way beyond gut, and that's what gives rise to a lot of work going on internationally about the gut-body axis. Mm-hmm. It's with gut, lung, gut, skin, gut, I would say liver, gut. Nowadays they're talking about gut mental axis, gut mind axis or gut brain axis, as they call it. So education is the key towards all these things. Consumers, of course, will need to see the benefit of it also. It's very difficult for a consumer to keep taking a pill and see absolutely no benefit out of it. Maybe they'll take it for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, but thereafter kuch to dikhna chahiye. That will be there, and that we see with probiotics. So going forward, if I have to invest into a certain nutritional space, all my money is on probiotics.
Okay, great. And as you said, we are talking about India where the consumer is price sensitive. So these are brands that that a consumer would want to see and needs to see a positive reaction to them in a certain period of time, because otherwise they'll just switch to another brand. And as we were talking outside, there are so many brands available on the marketplaces, on the e-commerce marketplaces. How do you really differentiate brands so that a consumer sees a brand and says, okay, I identify with this, and there's some amount of consumer awareness that needs to be built? What kind of lessons, Rahul, are you seeing from the global nutraceutical market? I know that you all are taking some of your brands to global markets before you all are launching, in fact, in India. So what kind of lessons are you looking at from the global nutraceutical market which are applicable to India and your business?
I think I completely agree with some of the points are already made here, and I won't repeat that. The only one dimension I would bring in here, which I found pretty interesting, and that might be true in India, but the consumers, though we look at for many, when we are giving nutraceutical for disease conditions, we look at them as patients, right? But they look at themselves as consumers, right? And with that, they want to exercise choices. They want to know more about the products. They want to know more about the brands which have been So I think they have moved one step ahead, and they are now looking at, it's not something is prescribed and I have to just go and buy it.
I think now the term is that a patient is an impatient patient.
Impatient patient.
Correct. They want results immediately, especially when they're not feeling, I'm feeling okay, but I'm taking something to make me feel better. So I need to see the reaction, I need to see the impact immediately.
Exactly.
So the impatient patient is a category that we are all dealing with.
And that's why I think their eagerness to know more about the product which
Informed.
is being recommended or prescribed is pretty high in these cases, and hence I think it is also a responsibility of us, the marketeers, also to help that eager addressed. And hence when we are launching some of these products and brands, we are actually creating brand sites for that. to give more information about our brands, because the consumers and patients are going to do search. And in one of our countries, we've seen that we have now digital marketeers who are working on search engine optimizations, etc. So that though you have created the web pages for those brands, but they also should feature. So I think even from pharma companies' standpoint, I think learning some of these new areas, understanding the impact of the digital shift which is happening, changes in the consumer behaviors, and how do you then kind of engage with your potential impatient patients. I think that's a new thing which we have realized that happened in a couple of countries, and I'm sure that's happening all over. Even in
Absolutely.
In India, you would be experiencing
Absolutely.
a similar thing. Yeah.
Absolutely, completely echo Rahul's thoughts. I would call it the impatient consumer, not so much of a patient, but yes, in terms of the speed of results, the speed of delivery. So yes, absolutely, online marketplaces, or even for some of our brands in Nutra, we have got our own D2C sites where we have started selling. So what that allows us is to have tremendous amount of insighting feedback, right? In terms of which are the triggers, which are the barriers, which SKUs are being sought after. If a certain SKU is not there, so certain SKUs do crop up in terms of the queries that come into our D2C page. There are sales. So in terms of where a physical distribution is not present, online allows that access to far off places. You name it, and I think we are reaching there in max 2 to 3 days. So that's what it allows in terms of building those insights for generating the next level of the brand key for triggers and barriers, and actually having a value for them. So consumers are clearly seeking a credible healthcare brand offering a nutritional solution rather than just anybody coming, because the marketplace is full of umpteen number of brands. Every day brands are coming up. But yes, many of them are doing well as well. But I think in terms of the consumer's mind space, is clearly when we are moving from the journey from illness to wellness, we are enabling him to provide health in their own hands, and that is how we are doing it. So I think that should be very important when I think as responsible nutraceutical players, we keep that in mind. And so frankly, I believe Cipla Health sits in a very sweet spot to offer that right now.
So I think we've been around the table twice, and we've got a lot of good insights on what responsible nutraceutical is, what are the ingredients of a responsible nutraceutical brand, whether it's a probiotic brand, whether it is consumer brands, other consumer brands. So I think we can leave this panel discussion here for today, and let's hope that the insights gained from this panel discussion to people who are going to be listening to this video really put them on the path to developing responsible nutrition products and also giving consumers value for their money. So I thank all my panelists today, and thank you for your insights, and thank you to Nutrify C-Suite Summit for allowing us to have this panel discussion today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.